Hi, I'm Saket Bansal. I help professionals in doing their PfMP certification. And in this video, I am sharing 10 questions from portfolio risk management performance domain. You know, the portfolio risk management gives you around 15% as per the exam content outline of PfMP in the exam. But usually when you give the exam, you may observe more than 50% questions around risk management. Reason being, the risk management related concept are very easy to mix with performance management, with strategic alignment, with governance, because risk is a topic which is an area of concern in many other portfolio performance domains as well. So if you understand the risk management well, I believe you should be able to make more than 15% questions right, because other domain questions where they are using risk flavor will also get easy because your risk concepts are good. So we will explore our question number 31 to 40. If you have not checked our previous videos, we do have 10 questions for each performance domain. You can check in our YouTube. And I also run a program which can help you in getting ready with your PfMP certification. In that program, we have many questions related to a particular performance domain. For example, for risk, we have a 50 question to start with. Then we have a full length mock questions which simulate the overall experience you will have for your final PfMP exam. So let's start with the risk management performance domain related questions. Question number 31. As a part of managing portfolio level risk, it is essential to ensure that each identified risk has a designated individual accountable for planning and executing the appropriate responses. Okay, the question is educating us. Which of the following is the correct way to assign and document responsibilities for managing portfolio risk responses? So in a simple word, it is asking where you put the clarity about who is expected to execute the risk response which we have identified at a portfolio level. Yeah, that's a simple, straightforward question. And you probably have an understanding of what is portfolio level risk register, what is portfolio management plan. And you probably understand the portfolio management plan talks about overall roles and responsibility, and a portfolio risk register will give a specific accountability or ownership for a given risk should be defined in the portfolio risk register. So let's see the option. Looking at the question alone, you know the answer, and it's pretty straightforward and easy question. Option A, assign the responsibility to the sponsor. So it's like definitely not a right answer. You need to identify appropriate risk owner. Sponsor is not the risk owner for all the risk. It can be owning some of the risk, but not all the risk. Record the risk owner in the portfolio issue register. Yeah, so you know, that the difference between issue and risk still helps. Yeah, and you know that whenever something is happening, it's an issue, and you should be looking for issue log or issue register kind of stuff. And when you have an uncertain event risk, then you need to look for risk register. So definitely the option 2 does not make sense. It was looking good till the time last 2 words issue register. Assign an ownership for the issue. So if we know the difference between risk and issue, B and C are anyway out. A is anyway randomly saying that you need to assign all the risk to a one guy, one role. The option D clearly tells document the risk owners in the portfolio risk register. Yeah, so this is, even if I read the portfolio standard even once, I think this question will get easy for me. And if you have done PMP, PGMP kind of program before, that much understanding you already have. So that way, the risk topic is not that complicated if you have done the foundational risk management studies in some of the other certification programs. I'm not mapping it to the ECOs, but I do encourage you to check the exam content outline and the task associated with the risk, and reading those statements sometimes help you to get the questions clearly right. Question number 32. You are a portfolio manager developing the portfolio risk management plan. One of your key responsibilities is to ensure that risk-related decisions support value delivery while remaining within the organization risk appetite. Okay. In the context of this, what is the preference approach to develop a balanced portfolio risk management plan? Yeah. So in a simple word, in your exam, you may just see this line statement also. Yeah, we have given little education, like what is the preferred approach to develop a balanced portfolio risk management plan, or in a simple word, what is an approach for creating a portfolio risk management plan. Other type of questions can come is what is the objective of portfolio risk management plan, what are the content of portfolio risk management plan. Some of those questions may come in our 10 questions as well, but those are the type of question you can expect from the PfMP exam. So, okay, what is the preferred approach to develop a balanced portfolio risk management plan? Let's see. Manage and brand against each risk, manage the band against each risk with high probability and impact. Okay. Manage resources against the overall expected return. Not a bad idea. Manage value against the analysis of capability and capacity. Looks little off from a risk management plan. Yeah, manage the overall expected return against known risk. So see, this one, sometimes you see a weird statements and questions which may not clearly make interpretation easy. This question, at least for me, the interpretation is not coming very easy. But what I am understanding is that what is the approach to develop a balanced portfolio risk management plan? And I can say which of the following statement is right. Sometimes when I don't get the question right, I just focus on that. And maybe one or two statements make sense, other are just out of the context. And then I can do a little deep analysis on it. So manage the band against risk and high probability and impact with a high probability and impact. So it is saying, the overall approach should be that I should be focusing on high probability and impact risk. Yeah. So say what is high? I need to do a risk management as per the risk threshold we have agreed upon. Yeah, that's there. In a way, it is partially right, but I need to see something more. At a portfolio level, risk is just not associated with ensuring the negative threats are not happening and opportunities are maximizing. We may purposefully or consciously take some amount of risk for the expected return. We can say, okay, in this portfolio, we can have a risk of losing this portion of money against our initial estimate, but we want to take it because we want to achieve something which is important for us. Yeah? So we may take an aggressive portfolio. We may have a known amount of understanding that this amount of risk we are carrying. And that's the reason the option D becomes right. Manage the overall expected return with known risk. So I'm saying that, okay, as a portfolio, we are expecting this amount of returns. And this is the expected risk we have on our return or our various performance benefits which we are expecting from the overall from the portfolio. Yeah, so that's how the option D goes right. If you study the portfolio management standard, you may see the exact statement also. It will talk about you need to manage the expected return against the known risk. Yeah, so knowing this statement is useful for your PfMP exam. Now, question number 33. You are a portfolio manager actively managing portfolio level risk. Within the context, you are looking to identify which risk could have the greatest impact on your portfolio's objective. What type of analysis is the most suitable for this purpose? Yeah. So overall, many of them may not even make sense for the risk-related topic. Yeah. So that the quantitative risk assessment will talk about simulation and using probability and impacts and those kind of expected monetary values and all. So out of many, it is very easy to touch sensitivity. Yeah, because the other options are not pointing to this. Yeah. But if there are close options, you should know what is sensitivity analysis. So it is usually associated with tornado diagram. You can say that there are many risks, and you may get a question which is talking about that there are various risks and you want to present a consolidated view of how these risks are going to impact various objective of the portfolio. And what is a good diagram? You will say tornado diagram. Sometimes you talk about you need to identify how sensitive your portfolio objectives are from these risks. So these questions and these indicators are pointing to a sensitivity analysis. Yeah. So you need to pick up that answer in this particular question, and similar kind of other tools and techniques which are mentioned in your portfolio standard are expected to be show up in your exam. Yeah. So make a good understanding of it. Question number 34. You are a portfolio manager facing an issue regarding unclear accountability for major risk within your portfolio. Which section of a portfolio risk management plan should you review first to resolve this issue? Yeah. So say this is little tricky question. Tricky question means it is not very clearly giving you the situation, and somebody may misinterpret it and end up choosing wrong answer. Yeah. So the first thing is, it is talking about difficulty in roles and responsibility. Yeah. And it is saying this issue is going on. And then it is saying which portion of the risk management plan can help you in identifying it. So you may get a little confused that, oh, I probably have a risk owner identified for every risk in the risk register. Yeah, that is something you may think. But it is not asking about ownership of each risk. This question is asking you, inside your risk management plan, you have various sections, and you also have a section called roles and responsibility, which broadly explain various roles and responsibility associated to risk management activities. Yeah. So it is saying, and risk register is not a part of risk management plan. Yeah. The template of risk register may be agreed in a risk management plan, but risk register, it's a separate entity. It is not a part of your risk management plan, and your risk management plan is ultimately a part of your portfolio management plan. So if you get that trap right, and which can come up, such kind of questions can come in the exam where things are just getting confused with two artifacts. Yeah. So clarity about the question and looking at, and you need to understand this is just a computer asking you something, and they will just take an answer based on exact and their interpretation of the words. Yeah. So words interpretation is also important, and that way you can easily pick up roles and responsibility. Yeah. My objective is just not to say, this is answer is B. Anyway, I can just type it B, but try to explain my guidance for navigating the questions. Because these videos are useful for our clients as well. They will get more question to practice, but the mindset which we are discussing here will remain the same. Yeah. So those things will be useful. And when you practice more and more questions, it will help you in navigating those questions as well. Question number 35. You are working as a portfolio manager in a healthcare organization, and new CEO has recently joined, and the board of directors has emphasized that the leader is expected to take more business risk than previous CEO. This shift may require updating the portfolio risk tolerance. What is the best, most appropriate step you take in response to this change? Now, see, this question, I don't know how PMI is going to map it to a risk or strategic alignment. Yeah, because it is touching both. And that is a type of question you can expect. Now, here I am putting into a risk, but it could be fairly mapped there as well. Yeah. Why? Because we are seeing a smell of there is a change happening at a strategic level. Yeah. But the change which is happening is more associated with risk. Yeah. So earlier strategy was not taking that much risk, but now new CEO has joined in, and then board of directors is also emphasizing that guys take more business risk. Yeah. Than the previous time. So this is something we are seeing as a change. Now, what should I do? So I should look at the process of managed strategic change also, and I should also understand the approach of coming up with a risk management plan. Yeah. So in a way, I need to revisit my risk management plan. I need to revisit the understanding associated with risk management plan. So let's see. What is the most appropriate step would you take to respond to the change? Yeah. Update the portfolio charter. Okay, there's a possibility, but most likely I will update the portfolio management plan, and the section which will be getting updated will be the portfolio risk management plan. So going back to the charter, not very clearly coming in because it is not going there. Yeah. Perform what if scenario analysis, simulation, what if scenario analysis. It is not that we have to choose or we need to recommend some alternatives. Yeah. In this particular case, if I am doing what if analysis, or I am doing some sensitivity analysis, or I am doing something, then I am coming up with a recommendation. Yeah. So as of now, looks like I need to understand and possibly then update. Yeah. So not looking that great. Interview the portfolio stakeholders. Looks good. Yeah, because I need to update the modified risk appetite. I need to update the risk tolerance so that I can update the risk management plan. So that looks good. Update the portfolio risk register. Some risk in a portfolio risk register may become less important now because our threshold is increasing. So we don't have to take care of each and every risk. There's a possible change in the approach of responding to the risk. Yeah, but the risk will remain there. Yeah, so there is an update happening in a portfolio risk management plan. Now, somebody will say that, but there is no clarity about portfolio risk management plan, why we are picking up this particular option. Now, if you map to manage strategic change, you will also see that there is a tool and technique which talks about that you need to revisit and understand stakeholders when they are doing the strategic change. So I need to understand that what is your new attitude towards the risk. I need to have an interview, and after that, based on that, I will update the risk management plan, and based on that, we will change our risk responses and strategies which we are putting into the risk register. Yeah, so little long chain, but I need to start with understanding it first. Yeah, in general, understanding the problem is a good idea. Then I have to do a recommendation. Yeah, and I may not be unilaterally change it. I will do a recommendation, and that may require a governance approval also. So I analyze, I acknowledge the problems, I analyze it, I come up with a recommendation, and then if the sequence has an option taking governance approval, I take it, and then I ensure that my portfolio start implementing those changes. Yeah, so that's the idea. We go with option C. Question number 36. You are a portfolio manager reviewing the risk register. The organization has set a threshold of 0.2 for identifying high priority risk that requires active response planning. Below are the 4 risks from the portfolio, including one recently identified threat. Okay. Now, which of the following risk is the most critical? Now, you may say, I have seen portfolio management standard and I don't see any of these kind of calculation coming in there. So I don't think they will come in the exam. Don't assume that. Yeah, you may get it, you may not get it. There is a possibility. But I would say that there is a possibility that the exam may check that do you understand what is the meaning of risk threshold? And if the risk threshold is given, how do you calculate score of the risks? And then how do you identify which score is expected to be given more attention? Yeah, small calculation, but it is expected to come. Yeah. So please don't ignore it. Now here what we see that we are getting a threshold of 0.2. Now all these risks are here. I just need to calculate risk score, which is just a simple multiplication. Yeah. And whichever score is going 0.2 above, I need to consider those risks. I need to do something about it. Fortunately, in this question, it is only asking one, which one is the most important. Then I just need to find out which one has a highest score. Now, sometimes you get a highest score question. Sometimes you may get a question talking about out of these, which all are expected to be taken care. So then I need to find out all the risks which are crossing the risk threshold. Yeah. Now here, I can use a calculator. In exam, you will have an option to trigger the calculator, but it is becoming clear, 0.4, 0.2, 0.2, I think 0.18. Yeah. So still below 5. Yeah. So this one is 0.35. Yeah. That something is crossing the threshold. So R2, R3 recent threat is big. R4, 0.4, 0.4, 0.16. So I'm just multiplying it. Yeah. So I know R3 is the highest as per the score. And if I have to choose one risk out of it, I will pick up the R3. Now there they are saying it's a recent threat or old threat, doesn't matter. Yeah. When I'm calculating the score, it doesn't matter. I just need to take a probability and impact. Yeah. So that way R3 is the answer wherever the R3 is given. So option C is the answer because I just have multiplied and calculated the score. Yeah. So small calculation, but they are very easy to calculate and rewarding question. And they may come in a different form, but you should be comfortable doing the risk exposure calculation and then utilizing the idea of threshold. Question number 37. Your portfolio includes both regulated healthcare projects and innovative AI pilots. Regulatory demands very low risk tolerance for compliance related components, while the board expects bold experimentation in AI to achieve competitive advantage. How would you establish the accepted level of risk for the portfolio? Yeah. So what the question is trying to show? Question is saying that you need to establish some kind of guidance, say risk thresholds you need to identify, when the risk should be taken care, when the risk should be escalated, and those kind of things. And inside your component, you have a different types of initiative. One type of initiative is very sensitive and you need to have little stringent control. Things should not go risky. And another area you want to have some risk. Because only when they try something, they probably will come up with some new idea. Yeah. So how do you handle these two different nature of work in your risk management planning? That's the question. Option A, apply a uniform risk tolerance across the entire portfolio to satisfy regulatory pressures. If I do it, then I will end up spending a lot of time into AI area related risk, which are not expected to be discussed that much detail because I'm putting a uniform approach. And in case of uniform approach, I will go low thresholds and things will keep coming on the portfolio, which is not needed. They are different nature of work. So I don't have to take a unified approach. Segment risk tolerance level by portfolio categories, then consolidate them into an acceptable overall portfolio level risk for governance. Looks good? Yeah. So we need to have an overall understanding that what we are trying to achieve in this particular portfolio, but we also have a segmented tolerance level. Great. Yeah. Option C, ask component manager to manage risk tolerance independently for their project. They have to manage, but ultimately I'm also here. Yeah, I can't just let the project managers handle the risk threshold at project management plan level alone. Yeah, there has to be a portfolio oversight as well. Look for the organization process asset to drive the portfolio risk approaches from the past data. You can do that, yeah. But that's a possibility. You can say, I will see how my company handle this problem. Yeah, that's a possibility. But here you have a clear understanding, which is saying this is what I will do. Rather than if I don't have an option B, then I can put an option D also. Looks like, I will just figure it out. Yeah, I will study. But option B is clearly telling, which is a good practice, which you have studied in your portfolio management standard. I can say, yeah, I will do a segmentation and I will focus on having a consolidated understanding at a portfolio level. So option B should look good when you face these kind of questions in your exam. Question number 38. Which of the following best represents the objective of portfolio risk management plan? Yeah. So you can expect these kind of simple, straightforward questions for all the artifacts you have, all the plans you have in your portfolio standard. So what is the objective? I can just study the options. To ensure mitigation of detailed project level risk so that the scope and schedule remains under control. So see, not a bad idea, but idea at a portfolio level is to have appropriate amount of risk, known amount of risk to achieve the desired amount of profit. Yeah. And ensuring that we maximize the opportunity and minimize the threats. That's the idea. And for that purpose, how should I handle it? I'm doing risk management planning. Yeah, that's the idea. So option A is too much focusing on components. Option B, to define how the portfolio will minimize threats and maximize opportunity while taking an appropriate level of risk to achieve strategic objective. Looks great. It looks like a statement from the standard. Yeah. Option C, to provide project team with the risk register and contingency budget to manage their deliverables effectively. Now, you are not going to provide project team a risk register. There is a possibility you provide some guidance for how to handle risk at a project level, not necessarily the risk register alone. You can definitely also provide some guidance about how to manage contingency, and that is possible. Yeah. But that's not the only objective of risk management plan. The option B is already giving a good indicator to us. To document responses for operational issues such as quality defects and all. So first thing is, it is clearly saying issues. Now, even if it tells to document responses for operational risks, yeah, then also I don't have to select it. Yeah, issue, it makes very easy to ignore. But if I say risks, then I will say, oh, but that's a risk register. That's not a risk management plan. Yeah, I'm not going to document the responses for each and every risk in a risk management plan. So I can safely assume the option B is the best where we can select it. Question number 39. What type of risk should be captured in the portfolio risk register? So looks very simple, straightforward, but an important one. And we can relate to whatever we were discussing in our risk management planning, that kind of conversation. Let's see. Risk related to scope, schedule, and cost performance of individual component? Definitely not. It will be in a project level, program level risk register. They do have their risk register. Yeah. Risk to strategic goals and objective, to business value and escalated from the portfolio components. This kind of risk is expected to come. Let's see. Option C, risk associated with resource conflict, procurement delays, and quality issues. within projects, they can come provided they have crossed the escalation threshold and they required to be maintained at a portfolio level. Yeah. But in general, it's a project level risk register. Yeah. Risk tied to a technology adoption, vendor performance, and staff constraint at the program level. Again, both. So C and D are both. C is the same project level, D is saying program level. My major focus is strategy. So I need to make sure strategic related risks are there at a portfolio level, and the risk which might be impacting multiple components and which may derail our strategic objective should be there, and something which is getting escalated because we have set some set of thresholds there. They can also be there. Yeah? So that way, option B represent a good explanation of the type of risk you see in a portfolio risk register. Question number 40. While preparing the portfolio risk management plan, you need to outline its content. Which of the following sets correctly represent what is typically included? Yeah. So again, a typical question talking about what is there in a given plan or given artifact. Yeah. Since we are talking about risk, I can have a question around risk register talking about this particular thing. Yeah, because these are the two important artifacts. And the similar kind of questions we can make for various tools and technique which we use, and we give a situation and talk about which tools and technique will be appropriate here. Yeah. And if we have that understanding, we are ready for our PfMP exam. So here I'm talking about what is there in the risk management plan. So risk strategy, risk threshold, and risk related roles and responsibility looks good. Risk register, issue log, definitely not. Format of risk register can be there. Then I don't have to focus on stakeholder engagement strategy and even not. Contingency reserve, work breakdown structure, procurement guidelines. So reserve approach can be there, yeah, but not the real reserve. And again, WBS and performance guidelines, procurement guidelines are expected not to be there, so I can ignore it. Governance escalation process, risk-related escalation guideline can be there. A risk-related escalation, not overall governance guideline. Stakeholder influence grade, not project level risk templates can be there. Yeah, you can have a recommendation, though we majorly focus on portfolio level risk templates because project level risk template will come in a project level risk management plan. Yeah. So in this particular case, I have an easy choice. I can pick up something which is clearly mentioned in the option A. If you see your portfolio standard third edition, especially, you may see more clearly and say, these are the things which are expected to be there in a risk management plan. As I said in the previous questions, doing that study is important for all the artifacts plans you have in your portfolio management. So this way you can get ready for your PfMP exam. If you need more assistance, you can join our program. We help you in getting ready for your PfMP exam in the shortest possible time.